Oh, hey, love your shoes. If you're hearing this, this is your sign to try those on. Trust us, you can totally pull them off. In fact, try on every shoe here if you want. We won't stop you. In our house, you've got unlimited freedom to play. And hey, fall is the perfect season to do, wear, be whatever you want. And with tons of shoes that get you, at prices that get your budget, we'll give you something to brag about. So go ahead, try them on. Let us surprise you.
Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah.
What's going on? How y'all doing out there? Let's get it together, folks. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080. It is always a pleasure to be here. I kind of have the house to myself, which now my wife tells me that she's scared to death of because she's going to be away for a week. She's going back to the D.C. area because she's going to drop off some stuff from our former ward of the house. And then she's going to go pick up the boy, bring him back to hang out with us for a week before we make our venture to the Nutmeg State. To hopefully live there forever and ever and ever. I don't know, maybe it's possible. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like. And of course, it'll be up to you. When I say up to you, it's like, telling your friends, getting everybody involved, listening to the show, helping it grow. That's how this thing works. Otherwise, I'll just be another flash in the pan. Remember that black guy? Anyway, it doesn't matter. No matter where it goes, I'm in God's hand. I'm good. And it has been a ride nonetheless. I always look at my life in a way that says, wow, I cannot believe I'm here. That's the way I look at the world today. It's like, can you believe I did this? I did the silliest thing. And this will show you exactly where my life has sort of like evolved in my own personal space. And it was one day, there was nothing going on. It was quiet. I hadn't filled in at WTIC for a while. I didn't fill in at WBEN for a while. And it was just a quiet day. And I was in my kitchen and I was looking at the refrigerator that we moved all the way out here. And I took off the truck by myself and placed it right there. And I opened it up, and our refrigerator has these little dials on it. It's not the fancy one like everybody has, the Samsung with the TV and all that. It's not one of those. But at the bottom of one of the doors, it's got 4 doors and 2 freezers on the bottom and regular stuff on the top. And it's got this little digital thermometer at the thing. And the other thing that's cool about it is that if you forget to close it, an alarm will go off to let you know that, hey, you haven't closed the refrigerator. And I'm sitting there and I look at it and I'm just staring for a while. And then I kind of come out of my own little, deep thought. And the reason why I'm staring at it is because I'm saying to myself, I have a refrigerator with a digital thermometer that alerts me if I keep it on, if I keep it open. I was like, I've never had anything like that in my life that I actually paid for in a home that I own. Well, at least until we pay the bank. But nonetheless, it's mine. I'm not paying a rent. I had to look at it and just go, holy crap. Like, look at where you are. There's like you have nothing to complain about. Nothing. Life is hard, but you're doing better than a lot of folks. I had to think about a lot of people in my travels. Good old Jamie Montgomery, a kid I've known since I was 12. That kid has more bad luck than Oliver from the Brady Bunch. I mean, the kid is dripping with jinx. He's always been that way. That's just the way James Montgomery is. But nonetheless, I still love the guy. We don't talk as much anymore, but I'm just saying, I just look at my life and I'm going, damn, I couldn't be more lucky. Yeah, thank you, Lori. I've arrived somewhere, but I felt like I accomplished it. And then I was looking at every facet of my life that I considered doldrum or horrible or things that I complained about or I was bitter about when I was younger. And I look at it now and I'm going, all of that, and look where you are. Like, you got nothing to complain about. Nothing. Don't win the lottery? So what? You know? Got to buy new brakes? So what? Wife riffing that we aren't in Italy yet? So what? I got a lot to be grateful for. Trying to do that. Anyway, I went off on a tear. Just thinking about that today, and it came to my mind, especially after the ending of yesterday's show, which, by the way, I want to give in the next talking break. I want to extend an opportunity, and we'll do that in a little bit. I don't want to make this about that individual, but I think it's only right that I do it, and I do things the way that I do them. The opening monologue today. For our next trick, let's call him crazy. And that's what I've been seeing as it relates to Tyler Robinson and the events that led to the murder of Charlie Kirk. And as much scrambling is being done on television shows where people are saying, we don't know what the motive is. Don't say that. We don't know. This is a desperate attempt to not be associated with Tyler Robinson, even though they know he is one of theirs. If they were not concerned, you wouldn't see this feverish event that is happening in news media by folks who are supposed to be objective journalists. These are people who are supposed to be there to give you the information without fear or favor. But they are attacking anyone who suggests that Tyler Robinson is one of their own that has been corrupted by the mainstreaming of calling your opposition fascist and Nazis. That is no one's fault but theirs, and they know it. Let me provide to you a supercut of that, and also a dismantling of that silliness. Let's go to, let me see, where is it here? This piece, which is probably the best example. Let me see, where do I have it? I thought I sworn I just did the piece. Here we go. All right. Listen closely.
This is a moment when the president is actively trying to gin up fear by spreading disinformation and his opinions when he really has no idea what is behind this tragic killing of Charlie Kirk.
It's not entirely clear at all what his specific motive was. We haven't heard it from him.
There's a lot we don't know yet about the suspect and what his motive truly was.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey, fascist!" ! Catch.
We don't know very much about his ideology.
We don't know what the motive is yet.
There is no motive as of yet. Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
He is a fascist to his core. Let that sink in and don't be a damn bit afraid of saying it.
Allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator. This fascist administration didn't come from anywhere. They have planted the seeds for years.
The initial reaction of so many people is to try to prove that this killer was a left-winger.
For the vice president to say he knows who did it and the motivation, I don't even think law enforcement has said that there was a specific motivation.
Right. Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out.
Language is a problem. There's no question. I think what everyone is reacting to here is the fear that the use of this is going to make it so that you are now targeting people who aren't involved in this at all.
When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy, referring to Charlie Kirk, spreads too much hate.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented.
Again, they tell you that it has nothing to do with them. They're not associated with this, but everybody knows that they are. Everybody knows they wouldn't be losing it. One of those women you heard there is a New York Times reporter. Again, supposed to be objective. The thing that you're doing is that you're using language that will attach people who had nothing to do with it. They did. They had everything to do with it. Now, again, what I always tell folks, the reason why you should watch the show online, if you do watch the podcast, is because I'm always wearing a T-shirt that plays another role in this. So I'm wearing a T-shirt that says, I paused my game for this. Because another angle that they're using, which is associated with the let's call him crazy, is that he was an online gamer and he lived in a dark hole. That's what my wife called it. A dark hole where he was being indoctrinated by gamers who live in this crazy world that no one else lives in. To which I go, a bullcrap. Everything that Tyler Robinson was learning online was mainstream. The Donald Trump administration and Republicans writ large as fascists and Nazis? Come on, folks. That's not an online meme. That has been mainstreamed. That has been talked about on mainstream media, and it has never been challenged or shut down. From George Stephanopoulos to Martha Raddatz to Jonathan Karl to Kristen Welker to Chuck Todd to what's her name? Norah McDonald, whatever. Every one of those Sunday shows. If someone goes in their program and calls Donald Trump a fascist or a Nazi, not one of them has ever corrected the record and says, for the record, there is no evidence that the president is this, that, or the third. Never. You can say anything else, and they'll correct the record. For the record, there is no evidence that suggests blah, blah, blah. How many times have you heard that in the news media? There is no evidence. President Trump said such and such without evidence. But these people scream and holler, Nazi, Nazi, fascist, fascist, and no one says he made those claims without evidence. Never. It's allowed to just sit there in the ether. So this nonsense that he was some gamer that was living in a dark hole in the underbelly of our society, where he was living in such a dark hole that he couldn't really, discern right from wrong. Well, folks, I'd like to go one step further to explain to you how all of that is bull crap. Did you read the text messages? Did you read any of them? And I'm not talking about the admission of guilt. I'm talking about other things. I'm talking about the text messages and the people who talked to him, the people who engaged him. Tyler Robinson was no recluse. He wasn't. He seemed to live a normal life. He seemed to be apologetic. he seemed to be embarrassed and ashamed by certain individuals. He clearly didn't hold any animus towards people he didn't agree with in his own family. His father, as he said in his own text, was quite MAGA. From all other published accounts and anyone else who knows the family, they are quite conservative. Mormon even, if I heard. Somebody correct me on that one. But he seemed to have a relationship with his conservative family to the point that he was ashamed to let them down. Damn, I got to get that gun back. I don't know how I'm going to be able to tell my old man that I don't have the gun. He referred to his dad as the old man. That's a term of endearment. That doesn't sound like someone who has some animus towards his father. We know that he had talked about politics amongst his family members. We find out that one of those individuals who made that claim before we knew who it was his own mother. His mother knew about his boyfriend. His mother knew that I guess he had announced that he was gay and took on a gay lover and had moved in with him. He had gone to dinner with folks. He had expressed his disdain, even hatred for Charlie Kirk amongst people who were ideologically conservative. His text message to his lover, I'm sorry to have gotten you into this. He may have hated Charlie Kirk, but he expressed remorse. So now I'm hearing people from Kate Benningfield and others that he's crazy?
Why is it acceptable to use this moment to argue that somebody, a sick individual who committed a horrific crime,
How do you know he's sick?
is somehow Are you here to argue for his sanity?
I thought that was not ethical to do. I looked it up just to make sure. I'm under the impression, in fact, I'm almost positive of it, that it is improper to diagnose a person as being crazy or sick because you're not allowed to. Crazy is stigmatizing and non-clinical language. It violates core ethical principles like do not harm, non-malfeasance. It constitutes an unauthorized or premature diagnosis. You don't know him. You don't get to call him sick or crazy. But it's funny that everybody can literally jump over themselves out a window and say, hey, he's not a leftist. But he is crazy. I can't determine that he's a leftist from his own writings and from his own family members who know him. Nope, too far a leap. But crazy? I'm not even a clinical psychiatrist, and I can make that at a heartbeat. Come on, man. Nobody's falling for this nonsense, and if anybody's telling you that it's true, they're just as stupid. Speaking of stupid, I want to go back to this. The Pulse nightclub shooting. You might remember a woman by the name of Christine Quinn, or maybe you don't, but I know you know Kelly McEnany.
What attracted the father of the Orlando terrorist to your candidate?
He's a mentally ill individual who ran for president.
I get it.
Pardon me?
What attracted him to your candidate? And your answer was he's mentally ill.
His answer that stop smiling and smirking like it's a funny thing.
Maybe they are revealing something. Maybe the fact that Tyler Robinson was a leftist, maybe it just reveals that he is mentally ill. But then again, that's the road you want to walk down. We'd be happy to accept. We'll be back. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Yeah, we're back, folks. And, this nightmare scenario that we think that we're living in with the spin stuff. And he's not a leftist, and it doesn't mean that he's a leftist. He's a leftist. Let's get over ourselves. It is. And as I try to explain to folks, please recognize the gravity for what it is. Because if there was no concern, there would be no freak out. I tried to say this to a lot of folks who listen to this program who disagree with me. They make it their like passion to be upset, angry, and feel a level of discontent behind me, which I wish some people would understand that. Because, okay, I'm going to both sides it. I hate doing it, but I got to do it because there are people, I guess as human beings, they don't understand when you give weight to something, you are giving it its power. And someone said that to me about the post that I did about Chris Murphy, now at 11,000 views, and thank you all for that. But he was like, if we keep exposing this guy, people are going to know who he is, or we're going to give him more recognition. But that's not what we're doing. And I know that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is not allowing Chris Murphy to say what he says without scrutiny. That's what Chris Murphy does. He behaves without scrutiny. He is not a Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk will go to your face and have you scrutinize his point of view. Chris Murphy will never do that, as much as he talked about it after the 2024 election, talking about how we need to talk more and communicate more. And what did he do? He immediately went right back to his echo chamber, or stayed there. This isn't to call him a coward, but this is to call him dishonest and to act as if no one should challenge him on what he says, that he should just say whatever he wants and that's it. We are exposing him to not just those who don't follow him, to those who do. To know that no one is in lockstep or goose steps with Chris Murphy. So when we give it weight, we do it with precision. We do it with his own words. Now, it's different when they're coming after me or coming after Charlie Kirk or coming after anybody else. Not that we're the same guy, by any measure. Charlie Kirk is larger than life, and I get that right now. But to challenge me, or not even challenge me, to come after me for my point of view, but never try to persuade me, is what I don't understand. It's never about, let me explain to you how you see the world in your way is wrong. It is, I just don't see it. It drives me crazy. I get upset. I had to tell a person today in a text message, you're having a hard time? I mean, do you mean a hard time like in a psychological way? And he's like, oh, no. Then you mean you're complaining? That's okay. Just say that. What do you mean having a hard time? Like, can you not go to work? Are you sick in bed? Do you need some chicken soup? Like, what do you mean you're having a hard time? Can you not carry on? So there's this level of which that people are behaving, treating it like it's the most important thing in the world, that someone disagrees with them or has a different point of view. I don't care about people's different point of view. It's my job to point out why it's wrong, which is what I articulate every day here. That's my job. To see the absurd and to reveal it. That's kind of the little, jab at the stupidest thing I read today. What's that about? It's to let you know that you can't take all of this nonsense seriously. The stuff that you need to do, you do. The stuff that you read or you see on television, that's nothing to react to. In fact, I care more about actions than I care about outrage. And as I promised you, folks, and I'm hoping that I'm living up to it, if I may, I'm pat myself on the back a little bit. Try not to break my arm doing it. But what did I tell you when I came out to Connecticut? That I was going to hit the ground running. And I hit the ground running. I did not waste my time when I got there. I told you I was going to get out on the Connecticut River. I got out on the Connecticut River. That is what actions are. Doing it up here, sitting on the radio, coming in every day. Hey, what are we going to complain about today? That's fun. That's great. People have been doing that for the longest. And then going back home, driving in their chauffeured limos, sitting in their big penthouses, and then coming back and doing it again and justifying their paycheck. Do you know that son of a gun is making $100 million a year and he only works 3 days a week? I'm not even going to say his name. I'm going to sound bitter. But I'm not there. I'm not at the point. In fact, I don't think I'd ever be there at that point. Can you imagine that, Roland? Roland, come on. Roland, you know me so far, what now? 2 years? How long you been at W?
3 years.
3 years now? Okay, so you know me for 3 years. Maybe a little bit longer. I've been here a little bit longer. But from what you know about me, if WTIC or Odyssey gave me a deal where I was making $100 million a year, do you think I'd be taking off 3 days a week or 2 days a week?
Sure, why not?
Hell no! What are you talking about?
you I would. You don't take days off.
If they gave me $100 million a week, I could justify to my wife working Saturdays.
Yeah, you could work 7 days a week.
I would work 7 days a week if with that kind of money. I would just hand my wife my paycheck every week, and I go to Paris, honey, leave me be.
$100 million a year, huh?
Yeah, I mean, come on. And you're taking 3 days off? I mean, look, don't get me wrong. If you reach that status and that, making that money means that you don't have to work that hard, I get it. But I'm cut from a different cloth. I just am.
Yeah, well, most people that do make that amount of money, that's...
It's built in their contract.
They think it's a right. Like, okay, I'm going to get 7 weeks off, 7 weeks a year vacation.
Really? 7 weeks?
Yeah, they take a lot of time.
I have a hard time taking 7 days.
Yeah. You know what? Even when I request time off, it's always like Friday and Monday. I just want the 4-day weekend.
You need the 4-day weekend.
Yeah, I don't need the whole 7 days.
Maybe I'm crazy. You know what? I'll put it to you this way. If I were to take a day off, if I could pick a day, it'd be a Wednesday. But even then,
Today?
It's a Wednesday. I would take a Wednesday off because it's the middle of the week, and I wouldn't miss the week. Like Saturday, I have no use for Saturdays and Sundays, man. Outside of church, maybe, but I got no use for them. I'm sorry. This is madness. I know it is, folks, but I got no use for Saturday and Sunday. It is useless to me. Why? Because Saturday and Sunday is when nobody's working. And I need stuff. Like if I got time off, you can't, because that's the time I need more of the workers, if you will, because I got time to harass them. So if you're not working, nobody's working. If nobody's working, nothing's working. That's the way I look at the world.
No, but people are still working. They just work on the weekends.
Yeah, those people who work on the weekends, let me tell you something. I love you. And the graveyard shift, I love you too. Listen, those people who work those shifts, the weekend shifts and the graveyard shifts, there are two types of people who work there. One, they just started there, so they get the crap shift, right? Or they need some overtime and they need some extra money, and they're doing that hard work so they can either, buy that great anniversary gift or maybe take the family out on that vacation that they can't. So those people I love the most. Those people who work the 7 days or the odd hour shifts, the graveyards, the overtime, I love or what?
Or they were like me. I worked the third shift because my wife worked the first shift, and I needed to take care of my daughter.
That's right. You have a young child. That's right.
So at that time when she was young, I had to,
you know what?
Get off of work third shift and then watch her.
By the way, those couples, let me tell you something. Those kinds of couples who sacrifice their own relationship because, as you just said, one working the third shift, the other one working the morning shift, and they've got to alternate and maybe have 1 or 2 days where they actually get to spend time with one another. And they do that until they both can have a regular schedule. And I know a lot of families who have done that for years until they finally can get a cohesive schedule. Those are even harder working folks, especially parents, because they got to raise a kid and they have to deal with those alternate schedules. So to those people, I applaud you and salute you, because that's the hardest working couple in the world, because they've got more than just their job to work at. They got to work at family and their relationship, their marriage, that whole bit. So, yeah, absolutely. Those are the people that I love. Sounds crazy, but those are the people that I love, man.
Yeah, now I love my weekends.
Yeah, I know you do. You're obsessed with them. I'm never going to be that guy. Never. Let's take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views, and I got more audio sound bites to play. And the stupidest thing I read today is one that everyone's talking about. Even Ricky there sent me a text message on it. We'll talk about it in a bit. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I played this before the hour was up, because there was so much outrage by it. And I don't expect everybody to follow every news reporter in the business. That's why I'm here, to do it for you. Which of you out there, whom out there, heard about a reporter named Matt Gutman and him covering the press conference where the district attorney laid out their case against Tyler Robinson? And the video has gone since viral, and many people were miffed by it. Like, everybody was like, what is this guy talking about? Is he insane? And Matt Gutman is out of Florida. I know who he is. I followed his career for a very long time. So when I saw this, while everybody else was outraged, I was going, yep, that's Matt.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was...
So people were like, is this guy crazy? No. Matt Gutman is what Matt Gutman. 14 days after the death of Trayvon Martin, this is what Matt Gutman posted on Twitter. Sanford, Florida neighborhood watch captain who shot 17-year-old teen because he was black wore a hoodie, walking slowly, likely not to be arrested. That was Matt Gutman on March 13th. Okay? Trayvon was Martin was shot, 26th, 27th of February? It's about 2 weeks later. That's what Matt Gutman, he had already determined that George Zimmerman shot Trayvon because he was black. There was no evidence to support that. That's Matt Gutman. Now, as of late, Matt Gutman, because of the backlash, has now responded to his... to that viral video. This is what he said. Yesterday, I tried to underscore the jarring contrast between this cold-blooded assassin of Charlie Kirk, a man who dedicated his life to public dialogue, and the personal disturbing text read aloud by the Utah County attorney at the press conference. I deeply regret that my words did not make that clear. But let there be zero doubt, I unequivocally condemn this horrific crime and the pain it has caused Charlie Kirk's family, those who were forced to witness it at UVU, and the millions of people he inspired. Now, Matt is not a bright guy. He doesn't understand that what the problem was that he couldn't get out of his own pro-trans way. That's what he couldn't, because in saying what he said, he was trying to underscore that deep down, this biological male found a love for a transgender person and was very loving and warm. And there was a contrast between the murder and the murderous nature of his act. It's a normalizing, if not creepy, way to look at it. But that was the intent. So, again, I say this over and over again. You can't expect tigers to change their stripes. They are who they are. It's only when they're busted and they're scrutinized that they then have to, make it clear. This should be natural to them to be able to set a tone. Remember, you're an objective journalist. You are there to give the who, what, when, where, and never give the why until you do. But as I just displayed in the Trayvon Martin case, here's Matt Gutman going to the why before it was ever established. He did not know why Trayvon was killed. He did not know why George Zimmerman killed him. But there he was, Matt Gutman at ABC. That was the handle, still the same handle, from 2012, March 13th. Okay? So we understand each other. That's who the guy is. So when I heard about it, I was just like, yeah, that's Matt. ABC dude misgendered his girlfriend. Not really. But yeah, I mean, it's just, these things are silly. Okay, when we come back, what I have, of course, headlines. I've got to get into the stupidest thing I read today, which is, considering all of this transgender talk, the stupidest thing I read today should have someone, I know AI can do it, but we need to create a commercial, an ad for this, where at the end it says, I'm Charlie Kirk and I approve this message. I'll play it for you in a little bit, so stand by for that.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Now I have to push headlines back. Darn it. Piece of audio that I needed for this bit is not here, and I thought I had it. I screwed it up. That's okay. Not a problem. We'll take your phone calls in about an hour. Don't forget also today, we have tickets to go see Gutfeld Live 25. That's featuring Greg Gutfeld at a Fox News channel with guest host Tom Shalhoub on Sunday, the 21st at 6 p.m. at the Premier Theater at Foxwoods. Go to foxwoods.com, and we will be giving them away today. So stand by for when we tell you to call. Also, we'll announce the winner of our Between Rounds dozen bagels in a month for 6 months. And you got to go to ReeseOnTheRadio.com. That's ReeseOnTheRadio.com in order to win. So both of those are going to be coming up soon. Headlines, let's put that aside. So yesterday I said I was going to start off the hour talking about, I was going to say communism, socialism, same thing, versus capitalism and the Democrat Party. Well, there's an article that said that the socialist brand is on the rise, according to recent polling, fueling the left flank of the Democrat Party to argue its ideology is becoming more mainstream. Shortly after Gallup released data showing that Democrats and independents are cooling towards capitalism, a progressive organization is out with polling, finding that more than half of likely Democrats prefers socialist-aligned figures like Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Zoran Mamdani to established politicians like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Nancy Pelosi. Democrat voters also viewed elected officials who described themselves as Democratic Socialists about as positively as those who identify as Democrats. And they prefer Democrat socialism to capitalism when written definitions of each are read aloud to them, according to the poll conducted by the Data for Progress shared first with Politico. What mainstream of the party wants is both democratic socialism as a value system and democratic socialist politicians. This according to Gabe Tobias, the executive director of Democratic Socialists of America's Fund. Now, this is very important because I told you so. And it's not just because young people are in the party. It is not because they're just fresh out of college, because not every kid gets an opportunity to go. However, this is because it has gotten harder for these kids to establish themselves in society. The jobs that we used to do for them is, it's backbreaking, heartbreaking, and everything is about their mental health. Someone yells at them, these kids would have a breakdown. They just would. They would absolutely lose their ever-loving mind if they were chastised. Why are you yelling at me? I just don't understand it. I tried to do it your way. I couldn't do it. Why are you so upset? And worse off, let's go one step further. I want to use another story to kind of complement this one. Do you remember when we talked about a growing number of this generation bringing their parents to job interviews? I know you do. Do you remember how many of you were going, what? And you probably went back to your own history and said, I couldn't imagine bringing my mom. I couldn't imagine bringing my dad. But what we ignored in all of that, and rightly so, we didn't really focus on the parents now, did we? That the parents didn't see something wrong with that. That the parents engaged in that kind of coddling. They just went along. Think about your kid right now and the values that you laid out for your children. Imagine them right now picking up the phone and saying, Mom, yes, sweetheart, I've got a really important job interview tomorrow and I'm really nervous. Okay, well, what's the job for? Well, I'm going to be an analyst and it's 9 to 5 and they tell me that it might be a couple of longer hours, but it pays really good and the benefits package is great. Okay, what's the problem? What are your concerns? Well, I'm just nervous about the interview and what he might ask. Do you want to go back and forth? Maybe we can sort of play out what it would be like. No, I didn't really call for that. I was wondering, could you come with me to the interview? Which one of you? Come on, which one of you would be saying, yeah, I'd do that? Would you be thinking that? No. No. Not anybody in their right mind. Not anybody in their right mind. And I know a lot of you have kids. Craig in the car, where are you at? Get on this chat room and tell me if the boy had asked you, or your daughter had asked you to come down, you or your lovely wife, to come down to the office with them to get a job, to conduct a job interview. No, and we're not talking about sitting in a waiting room. I mean, in the interview with you. And who are the bozo employers who are allowing that? Anyway, I digress. I was making a broader point. So with this growing phenomenon for socialism and these kids who want to be taken care of because they think all of their needs should be met by the, government mommy and daddy, I wanted to tell you folks, as I said before, I hope Mom Donnie wins. I hope that the Democrat Party goes by the way of socialism. They need to. But let's start from the beginning. Here's Harry Enton at CNN talking about the polling data as it relates to Democrats and what we just read.
I'm not really surprised that Kathy Hochul decided to, in fact, endorse R.M. Mamdani, because the fact is, socialism is not a 4-letter word in Democratic primaries, not among Democratic voters. It's a 5-letter word in the minds of a lot of Democrats, that 5-letter word being great. Look at this, net popularity of socialism among Democrats. You go back to 2010, it was plus 7 points. Look how high it is now, up like a rocket, up to plus 36 points. That's a jump of nearly 30 points on the net popularity scale among Democrats in just 15 years. And I was looking at the polling from New York City, and what you see is the clear plurality of New York City Democrats think the idea of having a socialist mayor is a good idea, matching what we see nationally. The bottom line is socialism isn't a dirty word among Democrats at this particular point. It's actually a word that, when attached, Democrats seem to like it.
And the reason why they do in New York is because of affordability, is because it's so expensive. They want to live there, but they need it to be subsidized because they refuse to move. A lot of people are so hamstrung on staying in New York. No, I got to stay in New York. No, I got to stay at my job. For them, it's a status symbol. It's not about being practical. I can't live in a state that's expensive. That's that expensive. I just refuse to. Plus, I hate New York. But I don't have to, and I won't. I am not tethered to New York in such a way that I can't leave. What about all my friends and the parties? Please, knock it off. You can't afford it. Don't live there. Live within your means. That's what we say. But they can't. Let's move on. Let's find out how these Democrats feel about capitalism. That number's bad, too.
What about capitalism?
Yeah, okay. So if all of a sudden socialism is now a 5-letter word, great. What I would say is capitalism in the mind of Democrats is a 3-letter word, bad. What are we talking about? Net popularity of socialism among Democrats. Look at this trend. It was plus 8 points in 2010 on the positive side of the ledger. Look at where we are in 2025. Down, falling through the floor at minus 13 points. That's a drop of over 20 points in just 15 years. So we see the exact opposite trend that we see at socialism, which is up, up, and away. What we see with capitalism is down, down, down through the floor.
And what does all of that mean? Well, as I said before, never doubt me. Because Harry Enton is about to say something you heard this humble correspondent tell you months ago.
What about if you look at the larger population, Harry? Is it the same type of thing?
This is where the danger is for Democrats, because if socialism plays in Democratic primaries, it does not play in the general electorate. What do we see going on here? Net popularity among all adults. Capitalism is on the positive side of the ledger at plus 12 points. Socialism way, way, way underwater at minus 18 points. So that's capitalism running away by 30 points over socialism. That is why Republicans are thanking their lucky stars if Mamdani, in fact, wins the general election, because they feel like they can play off of him, because socialism may play in New York City among Democrats, but among the general electorate, Donald Trump and the Republicans are saying, hey, look at this socialist mayor in New York City. This is what we're dealing with. So again, something may play in Democratic primaries. It may play in the very Democratic city of New York, but among the general electorate, Republicans are salivating at the idea that they can run against a Democratic socialist being the mayor of New York City.
Oh, hell, applaud me, damn it! Applaud me! At the cutting edge of societal evolution, keeping the tradition of Rush Limbaugh alive. I told you this. Socialism may be popular, but they don't care about that. That's not who we are. It may look fancy, but it's fringe. Fringe. It just is. Ain't nobody worried about that. I know I'm not worried about it. This was something we knew it was going to happen. Well, at least I did. And I told you that was going to be the sentiment. In New York, where it's difficult to live, right? It's easy to sell socialism in places you can't afford. You know, San Francisco, easy. Los Angeles, easy. These are like the big names. Their reputations precede them because you're living in a big city. You know, Detroit, Chicago, Indianapolis. These are the big cities. These are like the top 10 markets. It's Boston. Everybody's flocking there because it's the closest place they can get to, and it's where all the money is. And then when you don't get the pie and you have to survive and you can't go anywhere else because you have nowhere to travel or you don't know anybody, you need it subsidized to stay. So what do the mayors do? It's like, wow, we got all these people, all these mouths to feed. Yeah, let's take care of them. And everybody else is concerned. And they're bought on this idea, as Mamdani likes to tell them, we got to raise your taxes so that we have a better quality of life for you, too. You don't want the bums outside your door now, do you? All right. Pony up a little bit more. Come on. Give me some. Yep. That's all that is. You know, you better pay up or the pitchforks will be at your door. That's how that works. Hey, Roland, the person who called up and just hung up was it a treasurer for some town?
Yeah, I guess.
What
she said? Treasurer of Hartford or Connecticut or something.
Did she was calling in to do an interview unannounced? I have no idea who this person is.
I have no idea either. That was the first I ever heard of her.
Okay, all right. Did they say what they wanted to talk about, or were they just, announcing themselves?
Just announcing themselves.
Okay, all right. Yeah. By the way, if you are a politician or you are running for office, and you would like to do an interview with Reese on the radio, which I appreciate you wanting to do, please go to reeseontheradio.com. Okay, go to our contact page, and that's just a telephone number that's there. You can leave a message or you can leave a text if you go there and give us that information, and we'll get in contact with you. I know that a lot of people are now finding the show and finding out it's popular. Thank you for doing that. It saves me the trouble of having to call you and beg you to be on the show because I want to talk about something. But yes, if you want to reach out to the show, yes, I don't always do interviews. Apparently people complain about my interview style. By the way, if you hate my interview style, go check out Kristen Welker and Ted Cruz last night and then come back at me and say you apologize. Okay? All right? Just for the record. I got a guy who sent me a text message the other day. Says that he loves the show, but he hates my interview style. And I'm like, okay. I guess he was waiting for me. He said it was constructive criticism. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I don't expect people to be. Maybe they don't understand that. Maybe I am different. I don't like to play that card. I hate saying it's like, well, I'm different. It sounds braggy. I really don't believe myself to be different. I kind of consider myself very normal. So like criticism, I love it. I mean, I really do. I'm going to take Mark in a second, but I want to get this out. I said this earlier. So, as you know, Tim in Hamden is often referred to as a troll on the show. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that's a fair characterization of him. And many of you hate when I bring him on. For me, Tim in a lot of ways is a cat toy. Or like, it just is. And I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. I'm saying that I like listening to him because he's all over the place. And then when you get him in a corner, he immediately pivots. And that's kind of fun. That's the cat toy aspect of it. And I know that it turns a couple of people off. I get it. But there's something deeper in it. You'll get it in enough time. But, yesterday he came on the show to lie, and there's no other way to put it, to lie about Charlie Kirk saying that gay people needed to be stoned, when actually he was reciting Leviticus to someone who had already cited it as a pronouncement of why they are pro-gay. And he said, if you're pro-gay and you're going off Leviticus, check the next verse where it says stoning gays. That was the point. He knew it. Many people had informed him that it was false to suggest it about Charlie Kirk. And he knew he lied. He knew. So then he and I got in a back and forth last night, and he kept trying to switch the subject and go into all of these other things about Charlie Kirk, to which I just said, no, I'm not doing it anymore. So this is the way I'm going to handle it. And it's real simple. Tim is begging to be banned from the program. He's not. I refuse to ban him. He wants it so badly because he thinks that he's going to get some sort of some credentials from it. See, they banned me. They can't handle the truth. No, Tim, you are not banned. But the phone number's available, 860-522-WTIC. There is a condition to you ever calling this show again. You can listen as often as you want, and you can join the chat room whenever you like. But the condition of ever being accepted on the phones here at Reese on the Radio, you have to apologize to this audience and tell them that you were wrong, even though you were told that Charlie Kirk did not utter those words. He did not have that stance. You have to call up the show and say, I was wrong and I apologize. And if you can't do that, you can't call the show. You're not banned. Those are the conditions of which you can join this program. Now, you told all of us that you were an honest broker in all of this. You tell the truth. You're not a liar. You don't fib. Well, in this case, you did. And you owe everyone here an apology. And you didn't just get mad. You shouted and screamed and got frustrated. And then go so far as to go in the chat room and start F-bombing people out of your frustration. Well, you owe them an apology. And I think you should give it to them. And then we can all get along again. And we can play nice. Now, I know people are going to sit up and go, Reese, he's never going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, never doubt me. Tim, deep down in his soul, is a good person. He can call up and apologize and then forget about it afterwards. No one would be the wiser. But there's his challenge. Tim, give us a call. Say, I apologize. I did not tell the truth. You don't even have to say you lied. I didn't tell the truth, and I apologize. You'll be right as rain, my friend. You'll be right as rain.
Whoa, hold up. 100 candles on the cake? Who do you think's lighting this?
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio. Let's get to some headlines real quick, and then we have, I got to get to this story. Hold on. Connecticut teachers are expressing concern over anxiety levels in children. After reading this story, I don't think they're concerned about the kids. In an exclusive survey done in partnership with WFSB and the Connecticut Education Association, teachers expressed concerns about the levels of anxiety they're seeing in the children they teach. The challenges of teaching can be overwhelming. Nearly 98% of teachers say stress and burnout are very serious or somewhat serious concerns. They say one of those challenges is navigating the mental well-being of their students. Although student anxiety is not new, it is becoming more common and affecting students at in increasingly younger ages. And I can only imagine that when you bring certain things into the classroom that children would have a degree of anxiety, like if you feel different about your body. I would feel anxious too if I was being told that as like a first grader. What? I don't feel comfortable? What are you saying? These people are... But in reading this study, it sounds more like the teachers are kind of projecting that they are the ones who are a little anxious right now. But I don't know, whatever. So Jerry quits Ben and Jerry's ice cream over his political views. Now, I don't know if this is an older news story, but I could have sworn that this was already done. Ben & Jerry's co-founder Jerry Greenfeld has resigned after 47 years. The co-founder Ben has shared Greenfeld's resignation statement on X on Tuesday. He stated that our values of justice, equity, and our shared humanity have never been more important. And yet Ben & Jerry's has been sidelines for fear of upsetting those in power. Greenfeld said in a statement, it's happening all at a time when our country's current administration is attacking civil rights, voting rights, immigrants, women, and the LGBTQ community. Greenfeld's resignation over a disagreement with the company Unilever, which owned Ben & Jerry's for the last 25 years. It's a part of the deal that Greenfeld and Cohen should keep the anonymity, to pursue their values. In essence, don't get your name caught up in politics so that we can sell products to people who disagree with you politically. We're just trying to sell ice cream, okay? So that's over. Who cares? I didn't know that there was a Guinness Book record for this, but my son Ethan probably stated it best when he said, the Guinness Book of Records, isn't that the thing where people do stupid stuff for no money? And I had to look at him and say, yes, son, that's exactly it. So the Guinness Book of World Records has a new record holder in an Austrian daredevil who lit his body on fire and pulled a car a distance of 328 feet in 56.42 seconds to earn the Guinness World Records title. Joseph Tuddling became the first person to hold a record for the fastest 100-meter car pull in full body burn when he completed the stunt in Vienna. I didn't know this was a thing. I think this is going to get dangerous before our very eyes, folks. I'm telling you. Kids, be careful out there. Tide Pods notwithstanding. And now for the stupidest thing I read today.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
Now, this argument has been made now for, 5 years about women being biologically different from men. And the people who say that men can perform and participate in women's sports is a resolution that Democrats have stood by for over 5 years, even though the argument is probably a little more than 20 years old. But we know where Democrats stand on this issue. So to watch Mazie Hirono have a back and forth with Kash Patel, the FBI director, about pull-ups as the requirement to become an FBI agent was the most baffling thing I think I've seen in my life, but it happened.
You know, you've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But, you know, one question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
so
are
you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy and put him in handcuffs, you better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one pull-up is not harsh, and there are always medical exemptions to that.
I couldn't believe it happened. When all of this hubbub about men, women sports, and no, they're the same thing, and she must have had nothing for Kash Patel that she would so desperately kind of tank their entire campaign on the transgender issue. That's how bad that is. That's how bad that is. But there you have it. Let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. Mark's in West Hartford. How are you, sir?
Oh, my God. So much happened while I'm on hold. First of all, I got to say, that's almost as bad as Governor Newsom's ICE agents are going to be at the polling places. So they just, like, if you let them talk long enough, they're going to tell you, like, whoa, wait a second. So you are saying illegals are voting? I mean, come on. This is right up there with that. So women are different than men. So, first of all, just another comment. I didn't know teachers now have psychology degrees to be able to differentiate the students who have
high anxiety
now.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that's a credential when they're getting hired. One other thing, Tim from Hamden, or wherever he's from, he's gifted. And one of my friends, we were laughing about it just the other day. You remember the game 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon?
Yes, of course.
He can do 6 degrees to Trump. No matter what subject you bring up, politically, tragedy, whatever. 6 degrees. Eventually, he's going to tie it into Trump. He's very gifted.
That is very interesting. That's very interesting.
That's a gift. That's a gift. I can't do it. I can try, but I can't. So the one thing you said about parents, and it made me think about what did we just learn in this past week about all these people who got fired for their comments on social media.
Correct.
And the one thing we've talked about before, and I just got off the phone a couple hours ago with a friend of mine, he's a headhunter with 40 plus years experience.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to come on the air to jeopardize, the possibility of somebody recognizing him.
Understood.
But he told me they're already told to be so it's upwards of 80, used to be 70% just a minute ago. Now it's like 80% of all powerful, big employers. I'm not talking about private businesses, small businesses.
Right.
80% now scour social media. So imagine when you were bringing up a parent, I go, imagine a parent being in on the interview and they go, hey, all your credentials are here, but now we've just got to discuss your social media posts. He told me that they've already said, it's already out there. These headhunters, they're the ones that, not all headhunters look at social media. A lot of times it's the human resource departments.
Yeah.
But they work hand in hand and they know what they're looking at. They're already discussing. Here it is. What are we, a week later? They're already saying that Charlie Kirk post, it's already red flagged. Like, listen, look on there. If they see anything where somebody condoned it, said anything positive about the assassination, they're out.
Isn't
and that's
that
just
wild?
going to be, and good luck trying to find an employer that's going to disregard that. So, for you people who think you got, rights to free speech and all that, guess what? Now, when it comes to employment, so you're comfortable putting something up there, go ahead, but could cost you a lot of money in the long run.
Hey, by the way, thank you for the NBC article. I'm going to talk about it in the next hour.
I freaked out at that, to be honest.
Well,
you
know what?
Anyway.
Excuse me. What did I say about the whole Tyler Robinson thing? Right? We can speculate till the cows come home, and now we have this story about Mississippi. I don't want to give it away. We have this story about Mississippi, and now they have people coming right out of the woodworks. The police have said no foul play, but people in the community of Mississippi, everybody's allowed to be a skeptic now. It's insane. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate you. We're going to take a break in a minute. That Mississippi story is also coming up, plus more. Your phone calls. Greg Dillon is actually, I just saw him on the line. He is, of course, is the author of The Thin Blue Lie. We'll talk to him about, I'm assuming he's calling about the FBI as a former agent himself. I don't know, maybe I don't want to pigeonhole him. He's my friend. But we also call him Coach Greg Dillon in my house. But he loves that term. We'll talk to him in a bit as well. So stand by for that. This Mississippi story I just got, wild story. Let's just say they're already calling it racism no matter what the investigation says. But we'll get to that as well. And what was the other thing I needed to express? Oh, we got the Greg Gutfeld tickets. We have to talk about that as well. Oh, and I know what it was. Give me 2 seconds. I have it. I'm almost there. And it is this right here. Oh, yesterday's show, I was telling you that this whole screaming and hollering about Charlie Kirk and, making fun of his death, I told you guys what was going to happen because of it. I've got a small example of that when we return, so stand by for that. All right, it's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Yeah, we're back. In the next hour, we're going to talk a little bit about this whole firing thing that's going on that people seem to be outraged about. But, there's a reason why I am who I am and they are who they are. Because it just doesn't make sense how these people are outraged. And I'm going to articulate it again for those who are so bent out of shape. It was like, oh, those people, they lost their jobs. That's not right. I got you. I've got you. We'll get to that in a second. Let's take Everett, who I haven't heard from in a while. Welcome back, sir. How are you?
Good, good. I hope you and your family are doing well.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
I wish Kash Patel would have asked that they, them person what a woman was.
Maisie Hirono, yeah. You know, it's interesting because it's that whole conversation with, you know, the opponents of the opponents of the Trump administration is, you know, one, to get their viral moment, but this is not one Maisie could possibly want, which almost gives me this idea that she showed up at that hearing with really nothing to combat him on, and this was like really base stuff that she was like, oh, I need to get him on something. What do you got? And we're like, well, you know, women are complaining about the training. It just backfires in such a horrible way.
I wish they would put her on the record, because then she would have been on a official record stating what a woman was.
Exactly. And that's what's going to be
put her
used.
Right in the corner and make her freaking say yes or no or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's going to be used against her. And you know what? When it goes viral, when the next time she does a hit on a cable news outlet, she's going to be made to respond to it. And that's where the trouble's going to go, because right now somebody in her office is telling her, we got to spin this because we literally just threw the transgender community under the bus. We just did.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody knows that all those groups are just pawns. They don't care about anybody but their power.
Indeed so. Indeed so.
Yeah, I do have something to... you were talking about the helicopter parents going to job interviews and things.
Yes. I have an HR person who just told me that at his job, it has happened. He's actually experienced it.
Well, I got a question for you. It has to do with ties in with the passing of Charlie Kirk.
Sure.
And especially in the manner in which it happened. Was there any outreach by the school system for the loss and the trauma that happens? Because I know that's like a standard thing they had started years ago, that
that's right.
Some tragedy happens in a school, a kid dies in a motorcycle accident on a weekend, and they have a memorial service at the school.
Yes.
And then they have grief counselors.
That's true. I didn't hear one word about that.
There's no grief counselor. I mean, they literally watched that. I didn't see it.
And they were in harm's way, if you think about it.
To see it.
They were also in harm's way. So, yeah, that would be odd that Utah that college wouldn't have a grievance counselor, a grief counselor there to deal with the kids who were in attendance. That's so true. I didn't hear anything about that.
Does PTSD mean anything to anybody? You know what I mean? Isn't that the letter sure like the stress thing that the...
Yeah, you know what? I got to get to weather and traffic, but I am going to look into that. And thank you for bringing that up. It's a great point, because we did not hear that at all. Thanks, big guy. Let's get to our first check of weather and traffic. It's Wednesday, so Bob Larson is here, and so is Mark Christopher, as he should be, in the BPS Traffic Center. How are you, sir?
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We'll get to Greg Dillon, the author of The Thin Blue Lie, in a bit, but we got to do the thing. Between rounds. And congratulations to Philip R. of Cheshire. He is the winner of the Between Rounds dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Vernon, and Manchester. If you'd like to win, you got to go to reeseontheradio.com. That's REESE ontheradio.com to apply. You got to give your birth date and your birth certificate, your birth date and your telephone number in order to win. And thank you all for going to the site and checking it out. Don't forget, reeseontheradio.com is where you go for a lot of things. My Substack, which is one article every week, and they're pretty good if I do say so myself. They're thoughtful. I put a lot of time into it. I don't consider myself a journalist. It's something that I wanted to do, and I'm trying it now, and I'm having some fun doing it, sort of collecting my thoughts and putting them down not on paper, but what the hell in an article. So go check out reseontheradio.com for Between Rounds and, of course, my Substack, and you can listen to the show there as well. By the way, that's a very, very helpful thing for me. Like when you go to reseontheradio.com, and if you do listen to the show there, and outside, you got the Odyssey app, of course. But if you listen to the show there, that's actually kind of helpful to the program. So do that if you can. Coming up, we got Hollywood news in the next hour. I've got a story about a music icon. And I got to do some research on this because I don't think that this particular movie or this kind of movie has ever been done before in Hollywood news. So stand by for that. It is a person everybody knows. It's a biopic that everybody knows. But I think this is the first time something like this in a biopic has ever been done. So I'm going to look it up and see if that's true. All right, that's coming up real quick. And, of course, Greg Dillon, author of The Thin Blue Lie, joining us just after the break when we return. Here's Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey,
it's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Trying to get some details, apparently, on some incident that took place in Pennsylvania. Governor Josh Shapiro found it important enough to get over there to that shooting. Apparently, it happened in an immigrant community, so they're checking that out. Roseanne's going to find out any details on it. And if there's anything worth reporting, and we'll see that in a second. Let's get to the phones. Greg Dillon, former FBI agent and author of the great and exciting book, Thin Blue Lie, is in paperback now. I'm almost certain of it. Joins us. What's going on, big guy?
It's your old high school basketball coach, Reese.
Well, you weren't that great because I cannot play that game.
That's our own inside joke.
That's right. That's
Reese,
right.
I've been following those Substack articles, and keep it up. They're great.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I know you and Simsbury Joe have been so supportive of you. You guys always comment on it, and thank you guys for checking it out.
No, I look forward to them every week, and I know we've talked about this in private, but I would encourage you to continue writing with the idea of putting out a book on your life.
Yeah, I've actually, after we had that conversation, I've been really, really diving into that and sort of breaking out all of these stories and putting them together and culminating them. So, yeah, I think I'm going to do it.
Good. Very, very happy. So, yeah, you knew what triggered me was that exchange there between the director Patel and Maisie.
Right.
And a couple of things came to mind. Maisie's only experience with a pull-up is the one that she's wearing under her muumuu. The next thing is, what is a harsh pull-up? Because she had to qualify these pull-ups as harsh pull-ups. And
yes.
I was trying to figure out what the difference is between a traditional pull-up and a harsh one.
Which I don't think that she understood. I think that she jumbled in. And this is, of course, in my exchange earlier with Everett, is that, this for her was like grasping at straws. Like, okay, what are you going to talk about, Maisie, when you have to question Kash Patel? And I think it was, oh, you know what? There are women who can't do pull-ups. So I'll deal with that one. And she kind of goes on the fly with, of course, not understanding what a pull-up is. There is no definition. A pull-up is a pull-up, and you are pulling up your own body weight. If she's calling it harsh, is she suggesting that these individuals who are doing these pull-ups the pull-ups are being done with excess weight being applied to them? Because she would clearly understand that that's not the case. If she understood anything about the armed services, about the police force, none of that. You are asked to be able to pull up your own body weight.
Yeah, she is the first problem with her, and I love how when Christopher Ray was the director, how Schiff and Maisie and Cory Booker just fawned over him and hung on his every word, and now that Kash Patel is in the same position, heading up the same agency, that he can do or say nothing correct.
And I'll tell you the other part that I find interesting in all of this. I mean, let's go back to Christopher Ray. Usually when people talk about Christopher Ray in a, let's say, less complimentary way, Democrats and people on the left are often to point out that he is a conservative, right? He's a Republican, and he worked for several different administrations. But yet when he was on Capitol Hill facing questions, Democrats treated him like he was one of their own, which should tell you everything you need to know about Christopher Wray.
Right. Well, he was the equivalent of Liz Cheney.
Right. Very good. Very good in comparison. That's exactly what he was. He was a good little soldier.
Right. And that's why that he got easy treatment at their hands.
Listen, I meant to ask you this because I think that this is phenomenal that you're doing it. It's not a slight. I really, really do think it's phenomenal. Am I correct in saying that you're still touring on this book?
Yeah, I'm actually heading to a Rotary Club event tonight, and tomorrow evening I'm on the Milford Green for a night festival, and then next I'm at the Groton Public Library for an appearance. So
you are really getting a lot of legs for this book. I mean, it's sell all the time, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to self-promote because there's so many titles out there competing for readers that you have to stay involved. But I think it has legs because of the fact that, the FBI continues to stay high profile in the public eye.
Indeed.
And, I think ethics and transparency are never going to go away. They're always going to be a topic of interest. So for that, I'm lucky for that reason.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I was thinking about this. The interesting part is that I can look at what would you say? Is it the last 10 or the last 20 years that that more focus has been on the FBI since the J. Edgar Hoover days?
No, I agree. And I guess maybe the fascination with like true crime shows and
also
and
true
old cases and serial killers. I think that has kept them in the focus of the public. So yeah, I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating. I think it's great. You've got a wonderful book, and of course, the more people you can introduce to it, you can, especially sort of the whistleblower aspect of that, because of how that is sort of viewed in a lot of ways, especially in our news media. In one breath, the whistleblowers are great, and another one is like bad juju. It's really weird.
Correct.
It's a
It
weird
depends on
dynamic.
which side of the fence you're on. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely incredible. Stephen Friend, our buddy Stephen Friend, a perfect example of that. By the way, when's the last time you spoke to him?
About 2 weeks ago. Him and I don't know if you remember the name Garrett O'Boyle, but they were
Yes.
sort of attached at the hip as whistleblowers. They're both in the process of being rehired now.
No way.
Yeah. There's 10 whistleblowers that are being brought back in, and they are 2 of the 10.
Okay, well, listen, since I have Stephen Friend's number, you know what? I'm going to reach out to him. Can he not talk about that publicly yet? Because if he can, I don't want to. Say again?
You know what? You'll have to ask him. I'm not sure if it's going to, jeopardize his.
Yeah, I don't want to put him
or
in that position. Yeah, I don't want to put him in that position.
He'll be upfront with you. He'll tell you whether he can speak about it or not. But
yeah,
that's his status right now. I think he's transitioning back into employment.
Well, I would like to talk to O'Brien even more so because and if I'm right, and I'm hoping that I'm getting this right because I remember all the names there. Is O'Brien the one that ended up in Quantico, and when he got there, he had been terminated after he moved his entire family into Virginia, even with a newborn baby? Is that the same guy?
That's correct. The only correction is it's Garrett O'Boyle.
Garrett O'Boyle. Sorry, yeah, I apologize. I said O'Brien. Yes, Garrett O'Boyle. That was the one. He's got a beard, and he didn't find out that he was fired until his entire family. I think they had a 6-month-old, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean. It wasn't he didn't find out. They didn't choose to tell him until he had already
packed up all of his stuff, moving van on the way, gets into Virginia, and they get there and he's completely locked out. And
all of his stuff was in storage. Retrieve it. I mean, it was a nightmare.
And it was during the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you've got a good memory.
I do because listen to me. Look. If there's any guy who knows about being railroaded, my friend, I mean, I've got the goods. I got the goods on that. So, do you have any conversation with him at all?
No, it's funny. As many times I've spoken to Stephen's friend,
You never asked him? You know what?
Boyle wasn't available the day I was supposed to be on it.
You know what? He is a much more, nothing against Stephen, but Garrett is a much better story only because if he's being reinstated right now, I mean, wow. Talk about risking it all and to finally have that come back to benefit. You know what I'm saying? In other words, it's sort of, you go through all of that thinking like what's on the other side, and eventually everything sort of works out. Hopefully it works out. I hope they give him. You think they'll retroactively pay him? Do you think they give him his back pay?
I'm inclined to think that they will.
Okay.
And I guess he'll have some say in the conditions of being brought back in. So if he has a good employment attorney, I would think that that'd be first and foremost on the table, is to resolve that issue before we start talking about rehiring.
Yeah, I mean, God bless him, man, for sticking it out. And if his family, that's enduring on them. Well, you know what? It's probably easy if he's got a good family. Knowing what he's been through, they probably stuck by him through and through. And having a good unit like that, if you're a good dad and you're a good husband, your wife and your family will stick by your side. Plus, I'm sure the kid's like 5 years old now, probably.
Yeah, a couple of years have gone by, but that support base is critical, really.
It is because, some people have a tendency to give up and you just say, forget it. Let's just, go another direction.
Yeah.
God bless that guy.
Yep.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you, man, and good luck to you. And don't worry, man, I'm going to see you. Gosh, it'll be in a month and a half. I'll see you real soon.
Great.
All right?
Great. Looking forward to it, brother.
Thank you, my friend. All right, sir. Greg Dillon, the author of Thin Blue Lie. Make sure you pick it up. It's in paperback. I say get the hardcover because it looks good in your library. Okay? It just does. It looks good in your library. See, I've got all of those paperbacks right there. The only reason why is because that's a cheap shelf. I don't want to put any heavy books on it. But get the hardcover. That's always nice to get the hardcover. Let's go to Fulton. What's going on, sir?
What's up, buddy? I want to talk about the non-mask mandates.
The non-mask mandates?
Well, that's what they said, right? ICE agents cannot wear a mask inside the
That's
courthouse.
correct. They can't wear them in the courthouse. Yes, let's talk about it.
So if I have a medical exemption because I'm afraid of COVID, can I wear a mask? Isn't that their basis? Would they love the mask? No. But honestly, is that fair? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think the roadblock that's going to happen here is they're going to, well, first of all, you've got to fight this in court. You just do, no matter what.
Who enforces it? Who's going to enforce over a federal agent? Stop from coming into a public space. It's not a private entity,
Well,
right?
what they're going to do is, and this is where the problem comes in, right? So now you're asking for your brothers in law enforcement to keep you from doing your job. Because now, think about it, you're in a courthouse. You know that is who is stationed at a courthouse. Usually the sheriff's department, if not the police department. It's usually county.
Connecticut's the marshal.
Yes.
And the state police have
Exactly. So they're there. Right. So ICE agents come to the door, right? In law enforcement versus law enforcement, they're going to go through a back and forth telling them, come on, man, I need you to take off the mask. And the guy's going, hey, I got to go in here and get this individual. So I would say, look, if I'm ICE and I'm not being doxxed, I'm not putting my life and my family in jeopardy, and I got a job to do, I'm just going to go in and do what I got to do. And I think that the law enforcement, and again, it's going to happen. I'm certain it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that the state police or the sheriff's department or whoever it is who's stationed at the courthouse is going to say, look, I'm not getting involved in this. You're not going to get me to go up against my law enforcement brothers.
But not even that. What's the liability against stopping a law enforcement, a federal agent from doing his job? There's a crime.
Exactly.
Right?
And I don't think that there's one officer worth his salt who is going to put another officer in jeopardy, knowing exactly, and you know that police officers have seen the videos of ICE agents getting attacked. They are cops just like they are. And there's no way I can imagine that somebody is going, yeah, I'm going to put another cop in jeopardy.
I have a story from a week ago, but I don't want to tell it on the air because it'll infuriate everybody about 1,000 things.
Well, you know what? How about this one? Keep it, Fulton. Get it to me privately, and I'll share it.
I will. I'm going to get it to you on that line that I spent all that stuff. Yeah. But it's something else, and you'll be like, well, okay, so it's here and it's not good. So
yeah,
it's an inner working of police department stuff, and but that's what I was saying. Though, like, who has to regulate that? Like, can they stop them?
I think they can, but I just don't think that they will. You know, if I'm ICE, I would put it to you this way. Instead of going back and forth with or getting into confrontation with my law enforcement brothers, if I'm ICE, I'm just going to have people stationed at every doorway. Because what do we know? Go ahead.
I said, why don't they just start every day? There's only like 15 or 20 courthouses. Why don't they just make a command post outside every day?
Yeah, exactly. A command post every day, just waiting for the person that they're looking for. Because you know what? They give the impression that these are random pickups, Fulton. They're under the impression that they're just looking at somebody and going, oh, he's brown, grab him. They know that's not the case. They are there specifically for the individual that they grab. They know he has a hearing.
That the two guys ran into the bathroom and they chased them into the bathroom. And they were arrested.
Yep.
No one's not arrested. Like, no one's ever like, oh, we made a mistake on this guy. Even those kids that got arrested from high school, they're still got a court date coming up because it was legit. Like,
that's right.
Yeah, they got out on a bond.
Exactly right. And so, what are you going to do? Thank you, Fulton. I appreciate you, boss. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But if I were them, look, I don't want to. If I got my fellow law enforcement guys, I don't want to put them in a bad position. Their job is already rough enough. They're going to make sure that people are going in without cell phones, without weapons. It's already I don't want. If there's anyone that police officers or marshals or state troopers, the last bit of stress you want them to go through is have to fight their brothers in arms. Who wants to create that rift? So I think on both sides, I would just wait. When we come back, we'll talk about this Mississippi story about a suicide, or at least according to police. The NAACP doesn't see it that way.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, we'll get to your phone calls really, really soon. And also we've got I've got a supercut that I want to play in a quick minute, so we'll do that on the other side of it. Also, Hollywood news is coming up. I was looking this up, and I said to myself, is it true that this has ever been done in film? And it looks like it has been. And two of them I should have known right off the bat, or the third one I forgot about. But we'll talk about it, because there's a movie coming out about a very, very famous person. And it is being directed by a very famous actor. It's actually really, really famous. And, well, of course, the person that they're doing a movie on is far more famous than the director. But it is still an interesting dynamic. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit in Hollywood news. Of course, we'll take your phone calls. There was a story here, in Mississippi. This is on NBC's website. Let's read it real quick. Body of a black student is found hanging from a tree in Mississippi. Police at Delta State University said there's no evidence of foul play. And that's not sitting well with the residents. The death of a 21-year-old black student whose body was found hanging from a tree on a university campus in Mississippi has sparked outrage and allegations online, even after officials said there was no evidence of foul play. Police were notified Monday morning about a body found near pickleball courts at the Delta State University in Cleveland, Mississippi. University Police Chief Michael Peeler said at a news conference later that day. He said that the body was identified as of that of Demartravion Trey Reed. Although Peeler said there's no evidence of foul play or a threat to the school community, classes were canceled on Monday at the 2,700-student campus. Yet, that has not prevented people from calling for justice for Reed on social media and circulating unsubstantiated allegations regarding his death. The NAACP on Tuesday expressed skepticism of the possibility Reed died by suicide in such a manner. You see? I'm not saying a thing, but that's all you need to know. It is what they say it is. It cannot be anything else. There's no way that he could have committed an act of suicide. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying that he did. More needs to be investigated, but the police say doesn't look like any evidence of foul play. It must be. I'm just saying, the thing that I'm trying to figure out, why isn't anyone saying, you can't just say those things. You have to gather all the evidence, NAACP. Come on, black folks, you have to let them figure it out. Find out if there's a suicide letter. We have to turn over all the stones. Told you. Rules for thee, not for me.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On NewsTalk 1080, WTIC.
Getting into your phone calls in a minute. Stand by for that. As I said a couple of days ago, right? Had to have been a couple of days ago now. We have a week in since the death of Charlie Kirk. But I know that I said this, if not Thursday, maybe it was Friday, but I'm certain it was as early as Thursday. I said all of this cheering and chanting about how much, the certain individuals, scum, worms, all of them, were celebrating his death. I said that it wasn't going to resonate. It couldn't. It's impossible to believe that. And I know that, some people are fatalist. Used to be that way. All due respect, I was one of those guys. You start thinking that, all is lost because people are who they are and that's it. Don't fret.
The left has a violence problem and Charlie Kirk being shot is proof.
I just came here to announce my official divorce from the Democratic Party.
Going forward after today and seeing how liberals and leftists and Democrats are acting towards this, I am never voting Democrat again. Ever again. For the rest of my life, I will always vote Republican.
This Charlie Kirk thing kind of put the nail in the coffin of me being a Democrat. I was slowly moving away from it anyway because I was noticing certain things.
The reason I am so critical of the Democratic Party right now is because I literally just left it, just like a lot of other people.
Whoever did this just f***ed up. And I'm seeing a lot of people who were on the left say that they're no longer going to be on the left anymore.
Since leaving the Democratic Party, I no longer have an depressed mindset. I hold myself accountable for my actions. I'm closer to God.
That was the last bastion. I can't be a liberal no more. You see the comments? I hope the gun is okay.
Democrats right now, it seems like all they think about is, oh my God, he disagreed with me. Oh my God, he doesn't agree with me. Oh my God, he disagreed with me. I'm sorry, but I cannot be a part of a party that's doing that because that's not a party. That is a cult.
If you voted Democrat, like I did, you voted for a party that does not exist anymore.
This is disgusting. A lot of people are acting really gross about this, and I feel horrible for his family. It's honestly just kind of scary. He was so young, and he was just on a college campus debating.
And that's, of course, from the Walk Away campaign, and they've been posting videos all week about that same thing. People who are saying, I can't do this anymore. This is against my values. I can't celebrate it. I can't cheer it on. Can't be associated. It's how that stuff goes. So I know it sounds corny to say to people, have faith in humanity, but it isn't. You can, they can win if they infiltrate your mindset. Just like, you know what? It's all lost. Lock your doors. Get behind the barricades, folks. And you can be suspicious as you peek over the wall. What do you want? What are you doing? What do you want from us? No takers. You can do that. You can quietly go into your own little shell. I was that guy. It's like, you know what? Don't need friends. I'm just going to sit in the house and going to chill and be in my own little space. I can trust me. I'm just saying. Let's get to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. George is in Canton. What's up, big guy?
Well, greetings, Reese, and greetings, conversationalists all across the fruited plains.
Yes, sir.
A little homage to the lovable fuzzball. Reese, I know you're not a lawyer, and I know you don't play one on the radio, but something I don't understand. I've heard the left comment about Trump in relation to the military, that the military oath is not to him, but it is to the Constitution of the United States.
Correct.
Why then are the oaths that would be state, local, military, and police, they don't swear an oath to the mayor or the governor,
correct.
do they?
Correct.
Don't they swear an oath to the and the politicians, like that one who was, I don't remember the name, but she said she was a Guatemalan or Venezuelan
correct.
Or something before she was a. Now, if these people take an oath, are oaths enforceable by law? And if they don't abide by the law, why? What do you do? What good is an oath then?
You know what?
Can you help me understand?
No. You are 100% right in that question. Right now, this is a huge. This is such a. This is the degree of fecklessness that is happening in public. I guess in our elected officials, because you're 100% right. Why do they put their hand on the Bible or the Quran or whatever the case may be? Because there are plenty of things that they put their hands on. But when you declare an oath to protect and preserve the Constitution of the United States, anything that you do that is against that oath should be considered treasonous. Now, I'm not, again, this isn't about being bombastic. This isn't about being hyperbolic. But what does it matter if it cannot be adjudicated if you violate it?
Well, that seems. I mean, when a mayor, what's her name in Los Angeles, or what's his name, the mayor in Chicago, how can they dictate to the police? Why does the head of the police union say to them, "Excuse me, we are bound by the laws of the country and or state, not your will"?
And again,
how do they just not say we're not going to do it?
And George, that is indeed the problem. There is a feckless behavior here because they do understand that. They are within their right. Doesn't matter what the mayor does. The mayor he could use his power to take away pensions or to not sign on, deals that are, of course, increases in pay or health care or things like that. Sure, he can hold them up against it for their refusal to abide by his law. But they do have an oath to the people they serve. That's their job. In the end of the day, the person they serve most is the taxpayer. Yes, the mayor is their boss, but that is not a reason. It doesn't give them license to violate their oath. And what they should be doing is saying and pushing back on that mayor, who is, in essence, is lawless, because that's what Brandon Johnson is, and so is Karen Bass. They are lawless in asking them to not follow the Constitution.
And this jamoke that is running in New York City now, who has yet to be elected. But why is it then that the politicians, the police, don't say publicly, listen to you folks, you're the ones that voted or actually going to vote him in or have already voted the other sitting mayors in, and you put them there, and yet we have an oath to the Constitution, not to them, and you put them in, you're putting us, that's the constituents, the people, the Vox Populi, are putting us in a position that we cannot enforce the law that because of who you put in.
Yeah.
This thing is circular.
Yeah, and again, there is a part of it, and you know what? George, I may be a degree of sadistic in all of this. I don't expect Zohran Mamdani to survive a year with positive polls if he plans on implementing what you just described. Because if he does hog-tie the police department and he decides to send out social workers to domestic issues and in essence tells the police that they cannot do their job because in essence they're the enemy in some sort of way, yeah, I look, it's going to be Snake Plissken is going to have to save that city. And if you know the reference, you know what I mean.
Yes, I do. Recipe for disaster. One other thing, if I may bring up earlier, this is kind of a non sequitur. Eric Erickson commented, I don't know if you listened to him at all.
I don't get a chance to because I'm preparing.
Well, then yes, I understand. If you Google up the debacle that's going on in Dearborn, Michigan right now, regarding the mayor wanting to name a street after a murderous terrorist of the Muslim community.
Yeah, I got the memo.
You know about it?
Yeah, I got the memo this morning.
Yeah, well, then it's worth I mean, look, see, it's metastasizing.
Oh, yeah.
Cancer is metastasizing, but just a subject for another day.
You got it, sir.
Reese, I love listening to you. We're brothers by another mother, no doubt about it.
Thank you, George. Much appreciated, sir. You
Thank
got
you.
it. Let's go to Mark in Windsor. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, greetings, Reese. Greetings to all the men and women listeners out there.
What's up, buddy?
I can call it. Hey, that guy Raheem at the Connecticut court, he's very political. He is a political pawn, and it's really sad because it doesn't make any sense for him to ink a state policy for state courts that is contradictory to the federal government, federal law enforcement, and any other agency in Connecticut. When they pick up prisoners, they pick them up from inside the Sally.
Correct.
Courts have Sally ports, and they go in there and they pick up their prisoners. I don't know why this man is segregating or discriminating against the federal immigration prisoners as opposed to someone that's wanted by the FBI or the DEA or Simsbury police or Middletown police.
Well, again, this goes.
Why does immigration police have to go through all this go through all these obstacles, giving time in aiding the illegal aliens aiding them with the opportunity to escape? Why is Raheem doing it?
You know what? And I really do believe that this is about, again, carrying water for the message, no matter how ridiculous it may be. Because there's a degree, not even a degree, it is blatant discrimination. It is it's blatant bias on the part of who in which he wishes people to enforce the law on. And I know that it's the activist group. And the only reason why I say this, Mark, is because I think about that West Hartford town hall that they had with Dick Blumenthal and Chris Murphy. When they had that, every individual that was in there was an activist group. They were part of some activist group, be it Indivisible or a whole bunch of immigration lawyers. Like every woman who went up and spoke up was an immigration lawyer. And I look at these folks.
How does that happen?
Yeah, exactly.
How convenient.
Exactly. It's so convenient. It's actually kind of scary that these folks have the pulse of elected officials, which means that they only answer. They answer to this false god primarily because they have a lot of political power in the state. And I think that's primarily what it is. And these guys will literally contradict the rule of law in order to cater to these individuals, either because they have donor money or because they're politically powerful.
Briefly, I see it in that a lot of these people, like Chris Blumenthal, they've been captured.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much like you were saying, they've been captured, whether it's financially or power by larger groups of people that are doing the same like they've done with New York, like they're trying to do with New York, rather, like they've done in New Jersey. New Jersey has it's run by. There's some towns in New Jersey that are completely run by Arabs.
Right. Yes. Just like the Dearborn thing. Sure.
Yeah. Minneapolis, Somali.
Yep.
And it's in in a lot of these places, what they're attempting to do is institute Sharia law in place of the United States Constitution.
And they're allowing them to do it. And it's crazy. The reason why they're allowing them to do it, because I got to go, Mark, but the reason why they're allowing them to do it is for the most usual reason. It's like, oh, we're so privileged. We're so blessed. They've got nothing. Give them what they want. It's like, might as well open up your doors. Give up your jewels, too. I got to go, Mark. But thank you, boss man. I appreciate you. They will acquiesce to every one of these groups, pander to them. And they sit there rubbing their mitts going, yep, give me the loot, give me the loot. We got to take a break. We'll be back. John Larson, he's in the Weather Center, and Mark Christopher is in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey.
It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Hollywood News. All the glitz, all the glamour of Hollywood News. Oh, this one is actually an interesting, and I really, really do want to see this. Primarily, not so much about the story, but I really wanted to see what he does with it. Antoine Fuqua, who did the film Training Day with Denzel Washington, is doing another movie, a biopic. And, of course, he did Black Panther as well. But he's doing a biopic. And it is the biopic about Michael Jackson, talking about Michael Jackson's, rise as the king of pop. The person who's playing Michael Jackson is interesting, though. The person playing Michael Jackson is his nephew, Jafar Jackson. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I looked up, how many times have we seen that in a film where someone, a relative, plays the role of somebody in their family? And I couldn't believe this. I totally forgot. O'Shea Jackson Jr. played his dad, Ice Cube, in the film Straight Outta Compton in 2015. Shia LaBeouf played his father, Jeffrey Craig LaBeouf, in Honey Boy in 2019. C.J. Wallace, well, he played the Notorious B.I.G. in his younger years in the Notorious film in 2009. And Guri Weinberg as Avner Kaufman, the father in Munich of 2005. That was a Steven Spielberg film. Where Weinberg, the real-life son of a Mossad agent in 1972. Yeah. So there have been films where family members, if not, the direct offspring of said person, played them in the film. This would be, I guess, out of those, this would be the first one that would play the uncle. Played by the nephew, I should say. So that's interesting. So that movie is expected in April of 2026. Jafar Jackson, Jermaine's son, by the way, playing his uncle, Michael Jackson, in the Michael Jackson biopic. Let's get to Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Now, that's not a bad swing. In fact, I just saw a picture of him, Mark, of Jafar, and he kind of looks like Michael. Oh, he's playing Jermaine Jackson. How often
back to the 80s.
How often do you get burned for a Jermaine Jackson song as a DJ?
Zero.
Tell me I'm not dreaming. That's another one. Is it? Oh, and what's the other one? Let's Get Serious.
Yeah, Let's Get Serious.
Let's Get Serious. I don't think I've ever played either of those songs in a set.
I don't think so either. I'm trying to remember. Who did a great remake of that song?
Which one?
Tell Me I'm Not Dreaming.
Someone did a remake of that?
Yeah.
Really? Whom?
Robert Palmer.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Really? Robert Palmer's known for the remake.
Yeah.
He was really known for the remake, and pretty good, I might add.
Good remakes. Yeah, he did a lot of good remakes.
Yeah.
So, good stuff there.
Now I got to check it out, to be honest.
Yeah, check that Robert Palmer remake out. It's actually pretty
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
And we're back. I would guess at this point we might as well get into the phone calls. I don't think there's anything that I haven't covered yet. Yes, we got Reese was right again. We got into Demartravion Reed. We talked about that. We did between rounds. Oh, you know what? Coming up, we got to give away Greg Gutfeld tickets. That's right. So get on the phones now. If you do, we will get you to Greg Gutfeld live. We got a pair of tickets to go see Greg Gutfeld on the Fox News channel with guest Tom Shalhoub on Sunday, the 21st at 6 p.m. at the Premier Theater at Foxwoods. Go to foxwoods.com. We'll give them away right now. Now, let's get to the telephones. I got Dave in Brantford. What's up, sir?
Well, how are you, Reese?
I'm okay.
I'd like to complain about Susan Campbell, the most frequently editorial writer in the Hearst publication.
Mm-hmm.
I get New Haven Register, but it's also in the Post.
Yeah.
And so yesterday's column was called "Let's Stop Pretending Shooters Aren't One of Us." And much like earlier in the show, you mentioned one of your callers, the 6 degrees of separation.
Right.
She does not write a column in our all-blue state where every problem comes down to some blue person's fault.
Right.
It's always Trump's fault, and every column she mentions him anyway. So Kirk gets killed, and this is her version of looking at it. I want to read you just a little bit. Along with the strident lobbying from gun industry, this is what went wrong.
Wow.
Strident lobbying from the gun industry has kept us from solving our gun problem, our gun violence epidemic. And I don't know how she worked race into that. We don't want to look at how we give birth to and raise people, most of them white males, who shoot and kill people. And then she mentions Trump, Elon Musk, Governor Cox of Utah, and a fellow I don't really know too well, Sean Davis,
okay,
founder of a right-wing media outlet.
Okay.
So she mentions 4 famous Republicans whose fault it is that Charlie Kirk, seeded his own destruction. And the funny thing is, if you haven't read the editorial, she lists 6 or 7 notorious events where it was a white male shooter.
Mm-hmm.
The CDC shooting. There was a school shooting, apparently in Colorado on the same day.
Can I tell you what I find odd in this woman? Can I tell you what I find odd? And I'm also finding it odd with the left, and it's really, really strange. If I were to say something to this Susan woman, I would say to her, I find it weird that you didn't mention that this white male in his 20s left his conservative Republican family and shacked up with a transgender and fell in love. I find it odd that you didn't mention that. Wouldn't you revel in the fact that you were able to convert a cis white male into a trans-loving sycophant who did it all for the love of his transitioning boy to girlfriend?
Well, I would.
Exactly.
The thing that is most significant is this woman who is a Karen, to use the way we use language nowadays.
Right.
She's a lecturer at UNH, and she teaches journalism. And her version of it is horribly biased.
It is.
The feminist viewpoint that it is white privileged oppressor men that are the root of all evil, and that's essentially her story. And I have noticed only the New York Post, the only paper that mentions this transgender
relationship.
His relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
It's the only one that even went there.
Yeah.
The language goes.
But yeah, that's what I said. Look, remember what they told us.
Television.
Dave, remember what they told us?
Television. Say it again.
No, you remember what they told us? They said one of the biggest problems we had with cis males in this country is that they weren't seeing the light. When they go on dating apps, they won't date transgenders. That was a form of transphobia. They weren't accepting. Here was a guy who literally betrayed everything that they hate and joined them.
Perhaps we noticed that there's a significant mental illness problem.
Now
in
it
this
is.
Community. Those are dangerous people, and we choose rationally make the choice to avoid that sector. Susan Campbell, a dangerous editorial writer. I wish they'd hire better quality editorial opinion at Hearst Publications.
Yeah, I'm not here, you boss.
You let me say it.
Thank you, sir. You got it. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, Kim?
Hey, Reese. Thanks for letting me on. Couple of things. First of all, I did hear that story about the black gentleman that was found
In Mississippi, yes.
Mississippi. But I think there's another part to the story that somewhere close by, I think, they had found a white male previous weeks.
I have that story as well. They're about 100 miles away. And the interesting dynamic between both stories, they're both found hung, one near the university, the other one in the woods. They do believe that the white male was a drug addict, according to his mother, and homeless. Is that what you found?
I don't remember the details on it. I just heard that they had coupled the story. At first, the big story was a black male, and people began to think, maybe it wasn't just a suicide.
Correct.
Or something else.
Yeah, they thought it was racial in tone, right?
People being found hung.
Right.
I don't think that's really hard to do, though, in a forest.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, Kim, just before you go on, I thought the interesting part about it was that in the case with Trey, there is speculation by the NAACP. They've hired Benjamin Crumb, the usual, folks come out of the woodwork. However, when they questioned the white mother about her son hanging himself in the woods, the mom says, well, he was on drugs and he was having a hard time being homeless. There's no speculation of it being foul play. Even if it wasn't racial, she didn't suspect foul play. She just said he was depressed, he was on drugs, and, this is probably a likely outcome. Completely different, point of view. But go on, you were saying.
Yep. So in all this darkness that's going on, and definitely you see the left is believing in what they call direct action, which can mean riots, it can mean destruction, it can mean killing.
Correct.
It can mean a lot of dark things. I just want to say I heard two stories today that give me some hope. One is that Senator Lee from Utah, he proposed yesterday a new Smith-Mund Act. And I don't know if people know about the Smith-Mund Act, but I've been talking about it for about 9 years now.
You talked about it on this show. I'm more familiar with it because of you.
Okay, so Smith-Mund Act was, it happened really, people started to notice after World War I was the first part of it, that a lot of propaganda was being used by the federal government to get people to accept World War I and to accept a lot of other wars as well, and also that it was propaganda. And then World War II came along, and Eisenhower, who had been a general, saw that the German people had been totally propagandized to accept Nazism and to accept, that they would kill Jews and hate gypsies and hate a lot of Slavs as well. So he realized the strength and the danger of propaganda. So it was the Democrats, believe it or not, they were different then, and Eisenhower got together and put in the Smith-Mund Act that said, one, the government cannot lie to you, and the government cannot use the power of government and media to propagandize to you, to get you into wars, to get you to do something.
Right.
Well, Obama came along in 2011 and said, hey, forget what all these other guys like Eisenhower and everybody else have been talking about, and said, we're going to rescind that. And they rescinded it. And what that did, it fueled it so that they could lie to you. The government could lie to you. The government could propagandize to you. But I heard it today. Someone put it very well. When the Patriot Act came around, that took the chains off of government so that they could do a lot of underhanded things, could lie to you, could
immediately align itself with the press, like in essence be a direct funnel to the press, leak stories, leak propaganda.
Right. People disappeared and you didn't hear about it. They couldn't. People were picked on by the government, and they weren't even allowed to tell anybody, including their lawyer, what the problem was. So the chains were taken off with the Patriot Act, and with the Smith-Mund Act, the chains are going to be put back on the government, so they can't do this to individuals or any kind of group.
And I understand that they're going to. I understand that the proposal that a young lady said that they wish to refer to it as the Charlie Kirk Act or the Kirk.
Right, the Charlie Kirk. And also there's someone you might want to read about. He noticed that he was the highest decorated Marine in history. His name was Smedley Butler. He had been in so many wars way back, and then he realized, holy cow, this is all propaganda that gets young men to, lose their lives in unnecessary wars. And he actually, the Bush family went after him to try and do a plot with him, and he refused. It's an interesting history. But the second thing I'm telling you that we should rejoice in is that they are going after Soros now with the RICO.
Yes, I do. I heard about the RICO thing. In fact, I need you to give me at least next week on that. I have a whole thing that I need to do on that because trust me when I tell you, I am going to blow the lid off of a lot of that stuff that's going on. I don't want to get ahead of that, but I know what you're talking about. And I've got so many other details that I just got sourced to me yesterday. So I've got to go through all of it, but I promise you that we are going to talk about it soon. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. By the way, the Smith-Mundt Act, absolutely right on point. I'm so glad that that's happening. Can I do one more? I will do, let's do Simsbury Joe real quick. Hey, Joe.
Hi there. So the first thing, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but when I was listening to Kim, I was on the internet. A lot of people who lived here for a very long time know the name Jeff Fox, the weatherman.
Oh, yeah.
And today, I guess he announced that he's in hospice care and will not be going anywhere anytime soon. So, we always give a hard time to the media people who don't do the job they're supposed to do. But, we have great personalities like Jeff Fox, who sadly, is not going to be with us at some point soon, I would assume. So I just wanted to let people know that.
Yeah.
So on the news, they talked about the vaccine panel that's going to be coming out with their findings. And I think that that's going to be a massive story, and that is going to be a story that's going to divide a lot of people in this country. And I have no idea what they're going to come out with other than what we're doing now does not work. It is not safe.
When you say the vaccine, now when you're talking about vaccine, you're not talking about COVID. You're talking about childhood vaccines.
No. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the many, many, many vaccines that kids need to take.
Yeah.
And it would not surprise me if out of all those, that what this vaccine panel does is just says, we're going to spread them out. We're putting too much in kids, babies, at one time. And you're going to find people, no, you can't do that. And it's like, where's the logic in your brains?
Yeah. What's the number? What's the number we're up to now on that on the vaccine before 36 months? I think we're well over. It's not 17. It's more than that. It's 50 something, isn't it?
I don't know. I know that when I was a kid, I think I got 6 over the course of my entire childhood.
Yeah, I think it's more. Hold on one second. I'll find out right now. Hold on. I gotta call Roseanne. Roseanne, come here. Roseanne knows because I know it was something around. She kept telling me the other day. I'm almost certain she said it on the show on Friday, if not the week before. She said something along the lines of it was 17, and then what's the number of vaccines before you're 36 months now?
It used to be 17, now it's 54.
54, Joe. 54.
Oh, there's no problem. Just put it right into the little body that can't process all that. And, if you just look at the studies that have been done showing that they're safe. Oh, wait, there's no studies that have been done showing that it's safe? It's just, we're going to see again.
Are you going to see the movie
The Intelligent versus the Ignorant?
Are you going to see that movie, An Inconvenient Study?
I'm assuming that I will.
Okay. Have you not heard about it yet?
I have heard about it.
Okay.
And it's slipped my mind.
Okay, but no, it's coming out. It's coming out on October 3rd.
Vaccine. Okay.
Yeah, it's coming out on October 3rd. So I implore everybody to look it up. An inconvenient study. What was the last thing you were going to say before we go to break?
The last thing is there's a scientist who's been out there for years saying that those people that are saying that there is an autism link to vaccines, and I don't know if there is or not. He was just arrested for pilfering $1 million, I guess, in Europe.
Ooh, okay.
So it's great that they have these kind of people that like to tell parents and other people that, oh, you're wrong. I'm an expert.
Yeah.
But then he goes and swipes $1 million and gets arrested for it.
I gotta go. Thanks, Joe. Let's get to weather and traffic. You got it. Bob Larson. And I called him John. Bob Larson and Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Bob. All right. Congratulations goes out to Mark C. in Canton. Congratulations to him. He is going to see Gutfeld live on Sunday, September 21st at 6 p.m. at the Premier Theater at Foxwoods with Greg Gutfeld and guest Tom Shalhoub. Have a great time there, sir. You can go to www.foxwoods.com if you wish to attend on your own. I put this picture up on my Facebook and on Twitter. I think it was on Instagram as well. And for those of you listening on the radio and you cannot see it, it's just simply this. It's a picture of a young man carrying boxes with the caption, "Got fired?" And it reads this simply. If you believe Charlie Kirk's words had consequences, why wouldn't you think yours would too? Why wouldn't you think that? I mean, that's your point. When people ask you or you're posting about Charlie Kirk in a negative way, he said this, he said that. Well, you thought his words, you know in your mind, his words had consequences. That's the point. What you are suggesting to us all is that you believe that words have so much power, that words are violence. Why do you think it only applied to him? What you are witnessing, as I keep trying to tell folks, is a classic case of a Reeseism. You set the standard, you must live by it. Charlie has already paid his penance with his life. You lost the job. So, a phrase that I'm saying to everybody who's complaining, you got fired. Charlie Kirk was fired on. You are not the same. Take your lumps and learn to code. What I would have done under those circumstances, I would have just shut up. I mean, technically, that's kind of what you wanted Charlie to do. Take your own advice. Shut up. If you think there are consequences to your words, heed. That's all you got to do. Live by the standard you set for everyone else. Don't come at me screaming, oh, no, it's free speech. No, it isn't. If Charlie didn't deserve it, neither do you. So, what was it that Bart Simpson used to say? Get bent. I'm sorry, I got no feelings for you. Let's get another check of the weather and traffic. Bob Larson's got weather. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Bart's been around a long time.
Man.
He stays the same age, too. It's pretty amazing.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is.
You know who it is. It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
You guys want to laugh? I will make you laugh. So Tim's in the chat room, posting still the same nonsense. He may have missed it because he got here late. This is his favorite show. And you know what? I even say to the haters, I love you. If I haven't told you enough, have I told you lately that I love you? Even though you hate my crusty self. I love you. I mean, I do. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. I love you. You motivate me all day. I do not hope that makes you more angry. I don't know why it would. I don't know why it would. I would hope that your hatred of me, with me knowing that I love you in spite of it, you motivate me. You do. That it would at least inspire you to say, you know what, the guy's not all that bad. As much as I detest him, he still says, I love you. And I do. I care about every single one of you. In some ways, I am trying to engage you and to show you that in spite of what you think of me, you can still be loved. Go ahead, Roland. What are you going to say?
Nothing about that.
Oh, okay.
That's your squabble.
What were you going to say?
Just what you were talking about earlier. Well, a lot of callers talked about the transgender male woman.
Yeah.
I was on Bourbon Street.
Okay.
And if you go to a certain section of Bourbon Street, there's
a large gay community.
There you go. and you know, they do the drag thing and all of that, and it was a guy down there, and he was just talking a lot of trash to one of the guys dressed up in drag.
Okay. Oh, so okay, it was a regular guy talking to a drag performer.
Correct.
And he was talking trash to the drag performer.
Correct.
Okay. And let me guess, the drag performer,
6-inch high heels, all of that,
all glammed out.
Yep.
Let me just say, he put a beating on the tourist, I presume.
Picked him up by his neck into the air, and that's when I knew. I looked at my boy and I said, "Okay, so they're actually men. They're not like if there was any confusion, if there were men or women. No, they're actually men.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I just don't get what the confusion is with all of this.
I don't know if you're familiar.
A man is a man and a woman is a woman.
There used to be sort of it wasn't a slur, but it was done as sort of a term of endearment. I can't say it on the air, but I'll just put it this. They used to call them H-thugs back in the day. Yeah, you remember that terminology, right?
Yeah.
So that used to be, that's the way we referred to them. They used to call them down low brothers because, again, they were sort of like hood guys, but on the down low. You know what I mean? And it's like but then we started calling them H-thugs. And yeah, they're very, very prominent. People think they understand that community. They don't.
And so being in a woman's sport is like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You cheating.
Yeah, it's cheating. They know it's cheating. That's the reason why it doesn't, if you really pay attention, the people who are usually doing it are not the ones that, like you just described with the drag performer who can stand there and grab a full-grown man by the throat and lift him up like a giant. They don't understand it's a little different in the real world. A lot of that stuff is make-believe. Anyway, I wanted to say, yes. So to the haters, Tim included. If you missed it, Tim, I did give you a caveat. You're not banned. You will never be banned from this show, nor will any other person on the left or progressive. I have no interest in that. At all. I don't care about, or I'm in no way interested in banning you, hating you, being angry with you. I have no anger for you. I lived a very, very charmed life. And when I say charmed, it's not wealth. I'm at peace. I am probably the most, let's just say, satisfied person in the world. I am on a perch you wouldn't believe. And I am grateful every day. If it all falls apart in a minute, I can look back on this with, let me put it this way. If it fell apart, I know my tomorrow is brighter. That's the way I look at it. I've got nothing to fear. Literally nothing. It just is what it is, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I am at one with my Creator. Cooling. Chilling. So don't ever think that I've got this hatred, like, I'm just banning you. No, you're always welcome here. Always. In spite of what people say about you being on the air, why do you talk to that guy? You can always come here. But today you have a caveat. And just call and apologize. That's all it takes. I want you to reach where I am. I want you to be where I am. I want all of you to be where I am. Do you understand that? I want the same positive energy that has been bestowed on me to extend to you. I've got no ill will. Again, have I told you lately that I love you? I seriously do. I'm not kidding. I'm not. I'm not even a happy warrior. I'm just happy. I'm good. I'm going to be all right. Speaking of all right, let's go to Patty. Hello, Patty. How are you?
Hi, Reese. Good. You're always so pleasant to listen to, and you love to talk to your audience.
Thank you.
And that's a compliment. I meant that as a compliment.
No, I know you do.
You love what you do. Yeah, I just wanted to add it to Joe's call, too. I happened to read something from Dr. McCullough, and I think the children have 92 vaccines by the time they're 18.
Yes.
I think off the top of my head, it's 25 the first year of life. And I think for autism, I read something from Dr. McCullough, which was from the CDC, and off the top of my head, I believe there's 1 in 31 for autism, but I think for boys it's 1 in 20 nationwide, and I think it's 1 in 12.5 in California.
Now, Patty, if I'm right here, Dr. McCullough is in this documentary called An Inconvenient Study. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
he isn't it. You do know about this documentary.
I do know about what, sir?
Do you know about this documentary called An Inconvenient Study that was done? They hired this doctor to dispel the idea that these vaccines were causing autism, and he was this doctor at the Ford Health Clinic or Health Hospital. I can't remember the name of it, but I have
That's right.
Yeah. So he jumped at the chance because he's one of these people who wishes to, squash the idea that vaccines cause autism. So he did the study because, in an effort to sort of disprove them. And when it was over and people said he couldn't publish the study because he was going to lose his job.
Yeah, and I wanted to tell you, too, what Kennedy's concerned about. In many of the shots, including the hepatitis C, and I'll do the hepatitis C real fast for you, it's called aluminum. Aluminum is a known neurotoxin.
Yeah.
Crosses the blood-brain barrier, stays in the body for the rest of your life, and aluminum has 250 micrograms in one shot of the hepatitis B. That's what caused my immune reaction in the late 1900s when I took my 1988, 1980, around there it started to come out.
Wow.
And they're very concerned about aluminum. Yep. I went from having like 4 allergies to food to being able to eat 4 different foods. And that's really the truth. But
you know what,
Patty,
I do have to go. I got to take another call. I seriously do. But what I wanted to ask you about, because you had an allergic reaction to it, if you give me an opportunity. In fact, let's do it. Can you always call in during the late hour? Are you not available earlier in the show?
No, I could come earlier.
Okay, this is what I want you to do. Sure. Spend some time with me at like 2:30 on Friday. Okay. Call me roughly about 2:30 on Friday. Here's why I want to ask you, because
I give you one little tidbit too. What Kennedy's concerned about is aluminum, formaldehyde.
Right, exactly.
Formaldehyde they put in dead bodies.
Yes, formaldehyde.
Okay,
right. That's
preservatives. The preservatives. What they're using is adjuvant.
That's the reason why I want to talk to you. That's the reason why I want to talk to you, Patty, because there was something that you just said in that instant that I want to investigate a little further. So Friday at 2:30, call me up, and I'm going to have a conversation with you, okay?
Sure. I'll go right off the top of my head.
You got it.
I actually know the information pretty well.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate it.
They're going after Kennedy. Do you know what they're doing in Kennedy, in the Senate? There's about $1 million from Pfizer that they lobbied the senators down there with Cassidy. They're trying to have him removed as the secretary, the HHS secretary.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm totally. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Patty. I'll talk to you Friday. Let me go to another a physician in all of this. Dr. Steve is on the phone. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Hold on. Wait a minute. Stand still because you're moving around a little bit and you're fading out. Are you there?
I am here. Yeah, you got me now?
A little bit. Try one more spot. Are you in the car?
I am, yeah, and I'll pull over once you can hear me, okay?
Okay, well, I can hear you a little bit now. What do you got for me, Dr. Steve?
Sure, yeah. So, naturally, as a physician, I just want to call in regarding the comments about vaccination. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, still breaking up for me. Still breaking up. You must be in like the worst area, like next door to Ned Lamont or Chris Murphy. Oh, it's Dr. Steve, you're killing me because I love it when you call, man.
Tragic.
Yeah, this is tragic. You know what? You got to call me. Can you call me tomorrow?
Yeah, sure, we'll do.
Okay, you got it. Just be in a better area. Oh, I hate that. I love when Dr. Steve calls. He's fantastic. Let's go to Tom in Thomaston before we wrap it up. How are you, sir?
Hey, you didn't say you love it when I call, but that's all right.
So, Tom, listen, you might as well be a member of the show. What's going on, big guy?
All right, I got you. Hey, I love your movie stuff, so I got a question for you on a movie, but real quick, I forgot who it was. Cindy, maybe? I forget her name. She brought up something about, World War II and the Nazis. The left want to do away with guns.
Right.
After World War I and the Weimar Republic, they wrote a law to disallow guns in Germany, but
Correct.
They wrote it poorly. So when Hitler came to power, he was able to finagle that gun law to just be able to give it to people like-minded, like him, the Aryans, and he took all the guns away for the Jews, the Poles, the Gypsies, the unwanted.
Right.
So if Trump's against the gun laws, how is he a Nazi? How is he Hitler? The two don't match. I don't understand.
Such a good point. And here's the thing. So here's the dirty little secret that they won't tell you, right? And in fact, hold on. I'm almost certain. I don't have the audio ready, but truth be told, that was one of the things or the comments they made about Tyler Robinson. They were saying that Tyler Robinson had to be a conservative. It was Jasmine Crockett. Tyler Robinson had to be MAGA. Why? Because he was a gun enthusiast. And the only gun enthusiasts in this country are Republican MAGA folks. So that's the whole rub. And you're right. It doesn't make sense because if Donald Trump were a fascist, he would disarm all of society, not the people that he figured were on his side because they're gun nuts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, if you just use a little logic, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But now to something more important, Reese.
Yes, sir.
Movie stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the wonderful Jim Kay?
The wonderful Jim Kay. Never heard of it.
Yeah, I never heard of him either. But Morgan Freeman was supposed to play his the person that had his contract later in life. So he was an African American, of course, that had the contract.
Uh-huh.
He was offered $50,000 in 1901. That was a couple million.
Okay.
He wouldn't do it. Jim Kay was so famous and so popular that a developer in the Bronx or in Queens built a 25,000-seat arena so Jim Kay could come perform a couple times a year for like a week at a time. He was the most famous, I can't say person because he wasn't a person, he was a horse. He was so popular, he got 2.5 million children to sign a pledge that they would vow to treat, work animals in a better way and did more to promote wellness of, field animals and just animals in general.
Really?
And I couldn't believe it. It's incredible, Reese. And in 2017, Morgan Freeman signed on to play his owner at an older age, but I can't find any more information about it.
I will look it up for you. I promise I'll look it up for you, Tom. I got to get up out of here, but I will look it up for you. We got to get out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night. Pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here on Thursday. Mark Christopher, he's at the BPS Traffic Center getting you home. Good night, Mark.
Good night, Reese. Thank you. Southbound 91 slowing a little bit by 33 Jennings Road. Northbound 91 heading.
All right, boss.
All right, man.
4 and 35.
Be
Looks
good,
like that just cleared a second ago. So 91 northbound's a good ride. Cromwell
yeah,
for the
got
winter
it.
now.
Okay, I just found
no
it.
problems. Westbound 94.
There you go.
All right.
Out into
I will
West
see you
Hartford,
manana.
although we do have.
See you tomorrow.
All right,
from westbound in Farmington from exit 37 Finneman Road down to exit 33.
All right, everybody. Yeah, thank you, Zach. Craig, everybody in the chat room. Timmy, you had your chance. Well, we'll try again tomorrow. Y'all be good to each other. The wife is on a road trip back to D.C. to go get the boy. She's going to be gone for a week. So there will be no Roseanne on Friday, unfortunately, unless I get her on the phone. But aside from that, I don't know. I'll see you guys. All right, be good to each other. Have I?